ब्रह्मनाथ ओ शांति 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 स्वस्थ।
Hello students, in the previous class we discussed important three parts that are related to the human respiratory system. First, we discussed about the nose, then we discussed about the pharynx region, next we discussed about the larynx region. We discussed that the nose is basically divided into external nose and the internal nose. The nose opens to outside through the nostrils by which the air passes in and comes out. Further, we discussed that the nasal chamber is being divided into left chamber and the right chamber by the means of we can say the nasal septum. Further, we discussed that the nasal chamber is divided into internal nose or the nasal chamber is divided into three distinct regions: anterior vestibular region, middle respiratory region and the posterior olfactory region. Further, we discussed in the case of the pharynx region that it is the common passage for the food and the air, whereas the pharynx is distinguished into three distinct regions: nasopharynx, oropharynx and the laryngopharynx. We discussed in detail about the nasopharynx, oropharynx and the laryngopharynx, whereas the oropharynx is the lower part of the pharynx consisting of the gullet, whereas the laryngopharynx, it is the region of the pharynx which consists of the glottis guarded by epiglottis. Okay, the region of the pharynx which lead to the larynx, that is why it is called the laryngopharynx. Further, we discussed the larynx region. It is a triangular hollow chamber which is cartilaginous in nature. It is made up of 9 cartilage, 3 unpaired, 3 paired. 3 unpaired we discussed epiglottis, thyroid, cricoid cartilage, and the paired are the cornicular, arytenoid and the cuneiform cartilage. So in details also we discussed that the larynx is also called it acts as the sound box. Okay, means it produces the sound due to the presence of the vocal cords. So this much we discussed in our previous class. Today we discussed our next part that is associated with the human respiratory system, that is your trachea. As we discussed that below the larynx the trachea is present. So your first point, trachea is also known as the windpipe and it is a thin tube like structure. So we can write our first point, trachea is also known as windpipe, okay, because through it the air passes into the lungs, that is why it is called the windpipe, okay, and the food pipe is your esophagus. Next, it is a thin tube like structure, okay, you can see here the trachea is a thin tube like structure having length around 12 cm and the thickness around 2.5 cm, okay. Next, when the trachea enters into the thorax region, it is divided into 2 subdivisions, or we can say it bifurcates, okay. So we can write, when the trachea enters into the thorax region, when the trachea enters into the thorax region, it bifurcates, or simply we can say bifurcates means it is divided into two subdivisions. Okay, at the 5th and 6th rib region, at the region of 5th and 6th number of ribs. Okay, we have about 12 pairs of ribs. Okay, so at the region of the 5th and the 6th number of ribs, the trachea, what happens, it bifurcates, or we can say it divides into two subdivisions where it enters into the lungs. Okay, next, the trachea is being supported, or we can say the trachea is being supported by the C-shaped rings which is made up of the hyaline cartilage. So we can write our next point. The trachea is supported by C-shaped rings which is made up of hyaline cartilage, Okay, students, next point. The trachea is, we can say, lined by the mucous membrane which helps to trap the dust particles and keep the trachea moist. We can say the trachea is lined by the mucous membrane which helps in keeping the trachea moist and helps in trapping the dust particles. Okay, what I have told, the trachea is lined by the mucous membrane which helps in keeping the trachea always moist and helps in trapping the dust particles or we can say which helps in preventing the entry of the dust particles. Simply, as the mucous membrane secretion are there, it helps to it acts as sticky by which the dust particles will stick to this mucous membrane. Okay, so what we discussed, first point, trachea is also known as windpipe. It is a thin tube-like structure. When trachea enters into the thorax, it bifurcates or divides at the region of the 5th number and the 6th number of ribs, by which it enters into the lungs. We'll tell in detail in when we'll go to the lungs region. Then the trachea is supported by C-shaped rings, which is made up of the hyaline cartilage. Okay, and the trachea is lined by the mucous membrane, which helps in keeping the trachea moist and helps in trapping the dust particles. Okay, you can see here larynx. Below the larynx, trachea is present. Below the larynx, trachea is present. The C-shaped rings are present, which is basically support the trachea, or we can say its main function is to prevent the collapsing of the trachea. Okay, or we can say it helps in preventing some sort of injury to the trachea. Next, you can see here what happens. This is the region where the 5th and the 6th number of ribs are present, and this is the region where the trachea bifurcates or subdivided into two subdivisions, where it will enters into the two lungs. Okay, students, please note down. Next, we'll discuss, students, that is the 5th major part, that is your bronchi region. Okay, we have done the various divisions of the various bronchi. Okay, so what is bronchi? Students, whenever the trachea enters into the thorax region, what I have said, it is bifurcate or it is being subdivided into two primary bronchi region. Okay, one is your left primary bronchus and the right primary bronchus. Where it divides? It divides at the 5th and 6th number of rib region. So let's write this point first. First point, when trachea enters into the thorax, it divides into two primary bronchus, that is the left primary bronchus and the right primary bronchus. Okay, bronchus are the region of 5th and 6th number of ribs. Okay, 5th and 6th number of ribs. Okay students, next point, this one is your, we can say the left, you always remember this one is your left, this one is your right. The left primary bronchus, bronchus means student, this one is your, we can say the singular. If you will add the bronchos like this term, this is called the singular. Bronchi means this is the plural portion, plural thing. So you can see here the left primary bronchus is quite longer as compared to the right primary bronchus. Left primary bronchus whose length is around 5 cm, whereas the right primary bronchus, its length is around 2.5 cm. It enters into the lungs at a point, that point is called the hilus. Let's write this point. The right primary bronchus, which is around 5 cm in length, and left primary bronchus, which is around 1 minute students, right, okay, 2.5 cm length, sorry, having 2.5 cm length, right one no 2.5 cm length, and left primary bronchus, which is around 5 cm in length, enters into the lungs at a point called hilus. Okay, you can see here what I have written, the point that the right, this one is your left primary bronchus and this one is your right primary bronchus. See, the trachea, whenever it enters into the thorax region, it bifurcates into the primary bronchus region. This one is the left, this one is the right. Right one is quite shorter, having 2.5 length, and the left one is longer, having 5 cm length. The place where it enters into the lungs, this portion, it enters into the lungs, okay, this called the hilus. The portion where it enters into the lungs, okay, means suppose this one is your left primary bronchus, this one is right primary bronchus. The portion where it enters into the lungs, that is called the hilus region. Okay, suppose this one is your lungs, suppose this one is your lungs, this one is your primary bronchus. The portion where it enters of the lungs, that portion is known as your hilus. Okay students, hope you have cleared the idea. Next, the direction. See, you can see here I'm coming this side. See, the primary bronchus, this one is your primary, this one is your primary. From further it is being divided. This one is primary. From primary it is divided into fine branch, it is divided into secondary bronchus region. Secondary bronchus is further divided into tertiary bronchus region. See, this one is your primary, this one is your secondary. Secondary is further divided into tertiary. Tertiary is further divided into fine branches called the terminal bronchiole. Okay, further the terminal bronchiole leads to the respiratory bronchiole. Respiratory bronchiole opens into the alveolar duct. Alveolar duct further expands to form the atrium region. Okay, and each atrium has 2 to 5 alveolar sac having large number of alveoli. Each segment is called the alveoli. The bunch of thing is called the alveolar sac. Okay students, so we'll write this. Primary bronchus divides into secondary bronchus, which is further divided into tertiary bronchus. Okay, tertiary bronchus is further branched into fine branches called the terminal bronchiole, terminal bronchiole further leads to the respiratory bronchiole. It leads to respiratory bronchiole. Further, respiratory bronchiole opens into the duct. Okay, opens into alveolar duct. The alveolar duct expands to form the atrium, a space that is called the atrium. Okay, next point. Each atrium has 2 to 3 alveolar sac. Alveolar sac means bunch of alveoli. Each atrium has 2 to 5 alveolar sac having large number of alveoli. Okay students, having large number of alveoli. Okay. Always one point you should remember, that the cartilaginous rings are only up to the tertiary bronchus. Okay. Cartilaginous or the cartilages are only up to the tertiary bronchus. Okay students, and you should remember one more point, that up to the terminal bronchiole it is the conducting portion, whereas the lower portion is called a respiratory portion. Why the conducting portion? Because it acts as the passage of the air. And why the respiratory portion? Because it helps in the process of the carrying the forward in direction, the process of the respiration, and also filtrating the inhaled air. Okay students, so this much we have discussed in the case of the bronchi. Okay, so when it enters, it bifurcates. This one is the left, this one is the right. Left is quite longer, right is quite shorter. The point where it enters into the lungs, it is called the hilus. Okay, then these are the various fine branches we have discussed, and also we discussed the direction. Okay, the primary it is divided into secondary divided into tertiary divided into terminal bronchiole, the fine branches. Then the respiratory bronchiole, it leads to the alveolar duct. It opens or expands into the atrium region. Each atrium has 2 to 5 alveolar sac having large number of alveoli, and only cartilaginous rings are only present up to the tertiary bronchus. Okay, see how as this structure is like this, from each tertiary such structures are being erased. So think how much number of alveoli should be present. Okay students, please note down. Next students, we will discuss our last important part, the major part of the human respiratory system, that is your lungs. Okay, you can clearly see the diagram. Okay, first point, a pair of lungs are present. First point, a pair of lungs are present. Okay, it is soft and spongy in nature. It is soft and spongy. Okay, having rosy pink color at the birth and dark slated gray color in the adult. Okay, having rosy pink color at the birth, okay, and dark slated gray color, slated gray color in the adult. Okay, in the adult. Next point, students, the lungs are being supported. How the lungs are being supported? It is present. The lungs are being supported dorsally by the, we can say, the thoracic vertebra. Okay, the vertebral column that is present dorsally, it is being, we can say, supported by the thoracic vertebra. Anteriorly by the rib, a bone is present that is called the sternum. What it is called? Sternum, where the ribs are combining or meet each other. Okay, this portion is called your sternum. Ventrally it is supported by the sternum, dorsally by the thoracic vertebra, and laterally by the ribs. Okay, so we can write our next point that the lungs are dorsally supported. First we'll write supported. Lungs are supported dorsally by the thoracic vertebra, okay, then ventrally by sternum, and laterally by ribs. Okay, next point, you can see here that the space which is present in between the two lungs, that is called your mediastinum. Okay, what it is called? It is called the mediastinum. So the space that is present in between the two lungs is called the mediastinum, where the heart is located, Students, see, this one is your right lungs, okay, this one is your left lung. We can see, students, some slight of curve is present in the left lung. Why? Because here the heart is present, okay, and this space is nothing but your mediastinum. Okay, next point, the lungs having the narrow and conical upper part, that is called your apex, whereas the lower broad part, that is called the base. Okay, let's write our next point. The upper narrow and conical part of the lungs is called apex, and the lower broad part is called the base. Okay, students. Last point. You can see that the left lung is quite narrower as compared to the right lungs. Why? Because as it is being curved, or we can say cardiac notch, this area is known as cardiac notch because the heart is located. As this one is slightly curved, it becomes somehow we can say quietly narrower as compared to the right lungs. So your next point, left lungs is quite narrower as compared to the right lungs. Okay, the left one is quite narrower as compared to the right lungs. Okay, so what point we have discussed? First, a pair of lungs is present. It is soft and spongy, having rosy pink in color and in the time of the birth, but in the time of the adult it is dark slated grey color, means in our case. Lungs are supported dorsally by thoracic vertebra and ventrally by the sternum and laterally by the ribs. The space that is present in between the two lungs, that is called the mediastinum, where the heart is located. The upper narrow and the conical part is called the apex, and the lower broad part is called the base. Okay, left lung is quite narrower as compared to the right lungs. Okay, please note down. Next, we'll discuss some more points on the lungs. Students, you can see here I have done two lines over the covering. Why? Because the lungs are enclosed by a double-walled pleural sac. Okay, what it is called? Double-walled pleural sac, having the outer parietal layer and inner visceral layer. You can see here this outer covering is called the pleural sac. Okay, it having two layers, outer parietal layer or the parietal pleura and the inner visceral layer or the visceral pleura. The visceral pleura is somehow, we can say, it is attached so much to the lungs that we cannot differentiate it. Okay, students. Next, so we'll write lungs are enclosed within a double-walled pleural sac having outer parietal layer and inner visceral layer. Okay, next point. You can see here the white portion, the space between the parietal, this one is parietal, the red one is parietal, the green one is visceral. The middle white space is called a pleural cavity. See, the middle white one is called a pleural cavity, which is filled with the pleural fluid, which helps for the lubrication during the respiration. Okay, so that no injury could happen to the lungs. So we can write the space between the parietal layer and the visceral layer is called as pleural cavity, which is filled with what? Pleural fluid, which helps for the lubrication during respiration. Which helps for the lubrication during the respiration. Okay, so what we have discussed, what points we have discussed, that the space that is present in between the parietal layer and the visceral layer, that is called as, or we can say, the pleural cavity, which is filled with the pleural fluid, which helps for the lubrication of the lungs during the respiration. Okay, next thing, we can see the left lungs consist of two lobes, means it is divided into two lobes, whereas the right lung is divided into 1, 2, 3 lobes. How? Lobes means it is divided into some divisions. How the division is being done? You can see here. These divisions are called oblique fissure. Oblique means like this division is called your oblique fissure. If straight it goes, it is called your horizontal fissure. Fissure means something which divides something. Okay. So similarly, the left lungs is divided into upper one, that is called your superior lobe. Lower portion, that is called your inferior lobe, and the division is called your oblique fissure. Similarly, this one is called your superior lobe, this one is called your middle lobe, this one is called your inferior lobe. Okay, inferior lobe. Having divisions, how it is being divided? This division is called your horizontal fissure and this division is called your oblique fissure. Clear? See, I am writing. Left lungs. Left lungs have two lobes. What are they? Superior lobe and inferior lobe. Superior lobe and inferior lobe. Okay? Inferior lobe. Whereas the right lungs have, this one have three lobes. What are they? Superior lobe, middle lobe and the inferior lobe. Superior lobe, middle lobe and the inferior lobe. Okay, this one is the inferior lobe. Superior lobe, middle lobe and the inferior lobe. Okay students, next point. Each lungs have 8 into 10 to the power 6 numbers of alveoli. Means you think how much number of alveoli is present. Okay, so see students, alveolar sac means what? We have discussed that the bunch of the alveoli are known as the alveolar sac. Each single unit is called your, we can say, the alveolus. Okay, and the plural form is called your alveoli. Okay, so similarly, each lung consists of 8 into 10 to the power 6 alveoli. Okay, so our next point is, each lungs have 8 into 10 to the power 6 alveoli. Okay, alveoli means it is the plural. Next, alveoli is further divided into two types. Pneumocyte 1 alveoli and the pneumocyte 2 type of alveoli. Pneumocyte 1 is simply lined by the squamous epithelium cells, whereas the pneumocyte 2 are these are somehow larger and specialized in structure. Okay, and it consists of some detergent like structure called the surfactant. Okay, we'll write alveoli is divided into two types. One is your pneumocyte 1, other one is your pneumocyte 2. Okay, pneumocyte 1 is lined by squamous epithelium cells, lined by squamous epithelium, whereas In the case of the pneumocyte 2 type of alveoli, these are basically, we can say, larger and specialized in structure, larger and specialized in structure, having detergent like substance called the surfactant, having detergent like substance called surfactant, okay. See, the alveoli it is divided into two types, pneumocyte 1, pneumocyte 2. Pneumocyte 1 is lined by the squamous epithelium, whereas the pneumocyte 2 are the larger and the specialized structures having detergent. Means you see how the detergent is like. Similarly, exactly that like structure is present, important, that is called the surfactant. What is the function of the surfactant? It basically reduces the surface tension during the respiration. It basically reduces the effort that we do while the breathing. It lowers the effort. Similarly, various functions are there. So what we have discussed, lungs are enclosed by a double walled sac, that is called the pleural sac, having outer parietal layer or the parietal pleura and the inner visceral or layer or visceral pleura. The space between the parietal and the visceral is called the pleural cavity, which consists of pleural fluid, which helps for the lubrication during the respiration. Next, the left lungs has two lobes, superior lobe, inferior lobe, whereas the right lungs have three lobes, superior, middle and the inferior lobe. Okay, each lungs has 8 into 10 to the power 6. See, each lungs has 8 into 10 to the power 6 number of alveoli. Okay, and the alveoli are of two types, as I said now, pneumocyte 1 and pneumocyte 2. Pneumocyte 1 lined by squamous epithelium cells, whereas the pneumocyte 2 are larger and specialized structure having detergent like substance called the surfactant, which basically reduces the, we can say, the surface tension during the respiration, and also it lowers the effort during the respiration. Okay, please note down. Now come to your last part, that is your blood supply to the lungs. How the blood is being supplied to the lungs? From the heart, the deoxygenated blood comes into the lungs by the help of the pulmonary artery. Then the blood is being purified, and the purified blood or the oxygenated blood from the lungs then goes into the heart by the help of the pulmonary vein. So we can write this: from the heart, the deoxygenated blood, okay, deoxygenated blood or impure blood goes on to the lungs by the help of pulmonary artery. Okay, then we can say from the lungs, after the purification of blood from the lungs, after the purification of the blood, we can simply say, here only will do, purification of the blood, the oxygenated blood goes into the heart, okay, by the means of pulmonary vein, okay. Remember, see, from the heart the deoxygenated blood comes to the lungs after by the help of the pulmonary artery. After the purification of the blood, the oxygenated blood is being transferred or flow into the heart by the means of the pulmonary vein. Okay. Now come to some associated structure, students. First, the diaphragm. Obviously, the diaphragm, you don't worry about that. We'll in the while studying the long question, that is the method of respiration, we'll read in detail, okay, the long question, how the diaphragm acts or how the various muscles act. We'll read in detail. Just as of now, you should remember only the additional that are structures that are present in the case of the respiratory system of the human. Diaphragm, first, it is a simple dome-like structure or a muscular partition which act as a play an important role during the respiration. Okay? Or we can say, as we discussed, it acts as a partition between the anterior thoracic region and the posterior abdominal region. Okay. So, first point, it is a dome-shaped structure which plays a major role in the case of the respiration. Next, the thoracic cavity. Obviously, the thoracic cavity is a airtight chamber, okay, or space or cavity in which the lungs are located. These are, or we can say, the thoracic cavity is guarded, okay, ventrally by the sternum, dorsally by the thoracic vertebra, okay. On the lower portion, the diaphragm is present, and laterally it is guarded by the ribs, okay. Next, the intercostal muscles. What are the intercostal muscles? These are the muscles which play the major role during the respiration. We will read in detail, don't worry, okay. These are of two types, external intercostal muscle and the internal intercostal muscle. These are the muscles which runs obliquely. Okay, obliquely means in this manner. Okay, the external intercostal muscles plays a major role during the inspiration, means while taking in the air, okay, or breathing in, whereas the internal intercostal muscle plays the major role during the expiration. That is why the external intercostal muscle are called the inspiratory muscle, whereas the internal intercostal muscle are called the expiratory muscles. Okay, the external intercostal muscles, these runs, some runs downward, some runs forward, and some runs inward. Whereas the internal intercostal muscles, some runs downward, some runs backward, and some runs towards the outward. Okay, just remember, external intercostal muscle runs downward, forward, or inward obliquely. Whereas the internal intercostal muscle, these runs downward, backward, or outward. See, don't confuse about the things. Okay, simply downward means it runs downwards, forward means in the forward direction, and inward means towards inside. Similarly, internal intercostal muscle, these run downwards, backward means towards the back, and outward means towards the outer side. Just as this much thing. Okay, and always remember, external intercostal muscle are the inspiratory muscle because these plays an important role during inspiration, whereas the internal intercostal muscle are the expiratory muscle. These play an important role during expiration. Okay, what I have told you, external intercostal muscle, these are the inspiratory muscle, whereas the internal intercostal muscle, these are the expiratory muscles. Okay, so next besides the intercostal muscle, there are also various muscles such as scalene, sternocleidomastoid muscles, which plays an important role during the forced breathing. Forced breathing means what? We take a force, breathe that during breathing, if you are forcefully breathing. Okay, so in that case, some additional muscles such as scalene, sternocleidomastoid muscles comes into act. And also during the forced breathing, the abdominal muscles are also comes into the act. Okay. Lastly, what is the sequence of airflow? Okay, how the sequence goes on means from external environment, how we take in to up to the lungs. So the way is, obviously, first the external nares means the nostrils, then it goes to the nasal chamber, then the nasal chamber, here it is our internal nares to the pharynx region, pharynx to the glottis, remember, pharynx to the glottis, then the larynx region, obviously the tube-like structure called the trachea. Trachea is further divided into two bronchi regions, okay, bronchi to final branches called the bronchioles. Bronchioles to, it opens into the alveolar duct, and finally from the alveolar duct the air comes into the alveoli. And each lung consists of 8 into 10 to the power 6 lungs, 6 alveoli. Each lungs consist of 8 into 10 to the power 6 alveoli. Okay, by mistake I told 8 into 10 to the power 6 lungs. Sorry, each lungs consist of 8 into 10 to the power 6 alveoli. So you can imagine how much number of alveoli are present. Okay. So we have discussed now the blood supply to the lungs and the associated structure that are related with the human respiratory system. Okay, please note down. Okay students, so today we discussed three important parts. That is, firstly we discussed the trachea portion, then we discussed the important bronchi portion, and lastly we discussed the lungs portion, okay. So in the trachea portion we discussed that it is also known as the windpipe. It is supported by the C-shaped rings like structure that is made up of the hyaline cartilage, which prevents from collapsing of the trachea. Further, the trachea is being, when it enters into the thorax region, it bifurcates or divided into two primary bronchi. One is left primary bronchi, other one is a right primary bronchi. Left one is quite longer, having primary bronchus having 5 cm length, and right one having the 2.5 cm length. The region where it enters into the lungs, that is called your hilus region. Okay students, bronchi we have discussed so many further divisions are there. Primary divided into secondary, then tertiary, and the C-shaped, that ring like structure that are present only up to the tertiary, the bronchioles. Okay. Further it is divided into various regions, terminal bronchioles, then the respiratory, alveolar duct, atrium, finally the alveoli. Each atrium has 2 to 5 alveolar sacs having large number of alveoli. Okay, each lungs have around 8 into 10 to the power 6 number of alveoli. Next we discuss in detail about the lungs. Pair of lungs are present. These are soft, spongy, rosy pink color at the birth, and during the adult it is the dark slated grey color during the adult. We discussed that the left lungs consist of 2 lobes, whereas the right lungs consist of 3 lobes. The space between the two lungs is called the mediastinum, where the heart is being located. Okay, and also we discussed that the lungs are supported by the dorsally by the thoracic vertebra, ventrally by the sternum, and laterally by the ribs. Next we discussed the covering, that is it is covered or enclosed by a double walled pleural sac having outer parietal layer and the inner visceral layer. Visceral layer, it is somehow mixed or condensed with the lungs, by which it cannot be differentiated easily. The visceral layer, the space in between the parietal layer and the visceral layer is called your, we can say, the pleural cavity, and it is filled with the pleural fluid which helps to give the lubrication during the respiration. Okay. Next we discuss the blood supply to the lungs, and lastly we discussed associated structure, okay, such as diaphragm, thoracic cavity, intercostal muscle, and the abdominal muscle, and lastly we discussed the sequence of airflow from the external environment to the lung alveoli. So students, by this we discussed the complete portion of the human respiratory system, or what are the various parts involved in the human respiratory system. In the next class we will start one of our important long question. So that's all for today. We will meet in our next class. Thank you.